Hi, my name is Mohammed Melhem, and I would like first to thank you for being here. I would like to thank Mr. Safwan Qadoura for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. Let me start by giving you an outline of my presentation. I'm going to start by giving you a theoretical background about the issue, which is using social media, Facebook, in teaching and learning. And I'm going to highlight the uses of Facebook in teaching and learning. And then I'm going to shed some lights on the dangers of using social media and Facebook. And I'm going to end up my presentation by giving you an idea, an overview of my project, which is Skill Up for Syria. All right, let's talk about the theory of using social media and Facebook in teaching and learning. Social media and using Facebook is very much related to social constructivism, which is a branch of cognitive constructivism that stresses the collaborative nature of learning. Now, this theory was developed by the Soviet psychologist. His name is Lev Vygotsky, a very big name in English language teaching, in fact. Now, social constructivism was developed by this theorist, and it's a part of cognitive theory. But what happens is that he separated from the cognitive theory of Piaget. It was Piaget, actually. Now, what happened is that Vygotsky said we cannot separate the social learning or the social aspect of learning from the learning process. And that was Piaget was believing. He was believing that learning is something and social contact is something else. He argued that all cognitive functions stem from social interactions, and the learning did not simply mean assimilation of a knowledge by learners, all right? It was the process by which learners were integrated into knowledge community. Now, and they are no longer, I'm talking about the students, they are no longer, the process of transferring knowledge. They actually in the process of constructing knowledge. Well, this is where exactly learning happens. Vygotsky theory of social learning has been expanded upon by numerous theorists and researchers. Now, the second theory you need to be aware of in order for you to work well on Facebook is the community of practice. Now, the community of practice is a group of people who share common interests or similar profession. The concept was first proposed by cognitive anthropologist Jean Lev and educational theorist Wigner, and it was in their 1991 book, Situated Learning, all right? Now, Wigner then significantly expanded on the concept in another book, and it was in 1998. The name of his famous book is Communities of Practice. Now, what is communities of practice? Now, community of practice can evolve naturally out of members' common interests in a particular field or a particular area, all right? And it's created with the goal of gaining knowledge related to a specific field. It is through the communication, it's through the process of sharing information and experiences that the group member can learn from each other, and they have the opportunity to develop personally and professionally. So, in order for you to work well on Facebook, you have to go and read on those two theories. First one, situated learning, which is related to constructivism, and the second theory is communities of practice. All right, let's move on to talk about the second point, which is the uses of Facebook in teaching and learning. Before we go into details, we have to realize, we have to be aware of the two kinds of online courses. The first one, which is delivered fully online, and the second kind, which is called blended learning. Now, please go ahead and read about blended learning. There's a lot of opportunities. Now, blended learning is when you mix face-to-face courses with online components. And I think Facebook can fit into this category. Right, okay. So what are the uses of Facebook? They fall under three groups. Number one, communication. Number two, collaboration. And number three, sharing materials and resources. Let's talk about communication. Now, the beauty about Facebook is that it allows students and teachers to communicate in a more relaxed learning environment. For example, shy students cannot speak, confidently inside the classroom. Facebook can give them the confidence to communicate. So when we talk about communications, we are not talking about verbal communications, we're talking about written communication. And it's a very important part of communications, all right? Now, the second part of Facebook work is collaboration. You know, it gives you the opportunity to collaborate. So, for example, if you're working on a blended learning course, teachers and teachers can collaborate to produce the course. On the other hand, students can collaborate to produce a project and publish it online on Facebook. Now, the third component of Facebook on teaching and learning is that sharing experiences, sharing resources, sharing materials. And this is one of the beauties of Facebook, actually. There's an ocean of resources and materials that students get from. But in a regulated online course under the category of a blended learning, it is very good because the teachers can determine what materials or what valid, reliable, authentic materials can his or her student use. So these are the three main phases of social media, Facebook, and teaching and learning: communication, collaboration, and sharing ideas, experiences, materials, and resources. Let's move to the third point in my presentation, which is the potential problems of using Facebook in teaching and learning English language. I think that one of the biggest problems in using Facebook in teaching and learning, and I'm talking about in general, is that the big number of resources available online, so that students and teachers cannot decide which one is good and which one is not. And I think in order for you to solve this problem, I think you can enroll in an online course on Facebook where teachers can decide the proper resources that the students can use. Now, the second challenge, and I'm calling it challenge, is that motivation. Now, it's just the way you need to convince teachers and students that Facebook actually can be a good learning environment. Now, everybody thinks that Facebook is just for fun. Yes, it is for fun, but we can have some fun learning. Why not? Now, I think one of the challenges is to motivate and convince teachers and students to take some bits of learning and use it on Facebook. Okay, the third problem of using Facebook in teaching and learning English is the lack of commitment. Students don't have the heart, they don't have the spirit to carry on the course till the end. And I think one of the solutions for this problem is that there should be kind of mentor, a teacher, a guide, a peer learning. That's one of the things that I applied myself with my students on Facebook. I applied the concept of peer learning, whereas two students are following each other's and keeping track of their own learnings. That's one thing. The other thing, teachers can regulate the course, they can set deadlines, they can set an assignment, and they can have a little bit of fun every now and then. By doing so, I think the lack of commitment will be eliminated and students will be motivated to finish and complete the course. Okay, so these are the challenges, these are the potential problems of using Facebook in teaching and learning English. But how do we do it in practice? This is how I see it, all right? Say, for example, that you are teachers and you have a group of students who are intermediate and you're teaching them some kind of coursebook, Headway, Interchange. So, first of all, set up a Facebook group, all right? You have a unit. Say for example, you have a unit about the present perfect. Now, so you go and tell them, finish some activities on Facebook, give me some answers on Facebook. That's number one. Number two, you could ask them to discuss the problem of understanding this tense on Facebook. That's number two. Number three, you could ask them to bring some materials and share resources about understanding the present perfect on Facebook. This is how I see it done in practice on Facebook, all right? This is just a few items. There are a lot of things that teachers can do and students. But keep in mind, we need to keep it regulated. If you are having a course, keep it organized, set deadlines, and have fun. Okay, let's move on to the last part of my presentation, which is talking about my project, which is Skill Up for Syrian. A lot of people approaching me, asking me to correct their ICE topics. And it was a kind of overwhelming. And I said, all right, that's it. I'm going to set up a group. And then I recruited a team and they were helping me in correcting, assessing, proofreading, and giving grades to these ICE topics. And then what happened is that the group expanded. A lot of people started to join. And we decided to make it a kind of different group. It's not like any Facebook group. I'm going to tell you about why. First of all, you have to be aware that Facebook introduced something which is very innovative. They were trying to catch up with the innovation, technology, and education. So now, on Facebook, there's something called social learning groups. So you go to the setting and you convert your group into social learning group. What is social learning group? It's a group that can enable you to create units. Now with these units, you can set deadlines. You can ask the students to click I'm done, indicating they finished the units. And there are insights where the teachers/admins can monitor the students' progress. This is something great. It's a game changer in terms of teaching and learning on Facebook. And in Skill Up for Syrians, we were the first one to apply social learning units on Facebook. And in our group, English Skill Up for Syrians, we were the first, according to my knowledge, in Syria and the Arab world who applied social learning groups in teaching and learning English. That's number one. Number two, there's something else that we made use of, which is chats. We created about 5 to 6 chats, and we call it clubs. These clubs, we give the space to people to communicate. It was random, it was very regulated, but this is a space for students for free speaking. That's one thing. The other thing we worked on is creating a sense of community in our group members. So every now and then we have an event, we can invite people, we can invite public speakers, and we have live sessions. And I want to take you back to the first part of my presentations when I talked about community of practice. And I said this is one of the theory behind using Facebook in teaching and learning. We were trying in our group to create a sense of belonging, a sense of loyalty. We were trying to create a kind of community of practice where students feel they belong. So with this event, we were inviting people, we were also creating content. We have competition every now and then, voiceover competition, handwriting competition, short story writing competitions, a lot of competitions. We were encouraging people to participate and giving awards. This is just to encourage people to participate. So why Skill Up group is different? It's because I was trying, in a way, indirectly, to follow two big theories in English language teaching. Number one, community of practice. I was trying to build up a community of practice among the members of the group. Number two, I was trying to build a kind of social learning, the one I talked about in the first part of my presentation about Vygotsky theory, social learning theory. And this is why Skill Up is different. I'm not trying to say that it's the best, it's just different. A lot of elements and a lot of components in our group are really about learning and not only fun. Yes, it's Facebook, we're having a lot of fun, we're having class, but there's a lot of learning happening there. And by the way, one more thing that makes our group different and full of learning is that we created Skill Up Library. Now, instead of digging deep and randomly and trying to find a link for a book or something, we created something called Skill Up Library. So inside one of the units, we compiled and we collected the most important books and we put them in one place so students can collect them, download them when they need them. Another thing that we're trying to create, which is a very good tweak in Facebook group, which is files. People don't know there are something called files in group. So under these files, you can organize a lot of things. Students don't need to dig deep to find it. We organize it, we put it into orders, and we present it to our students. That's learning and fun. So after talking about my group, let me wrap up my talk. I would like to thank Mr. Safwan Al-Dura for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. And I hope that you got something from this talk. And I hope to see you again physically present there in the future events. And I will see you there sometime, all right? And I hope to see you on Facebook. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.